Hey guys, welcome to the final little video here in the regular occurring series here on the FM13, FMC, whatever you want to call it, save. And this is basically the final profile. Now, I've already mentioned I might continue. I will be continuing. I will be playing this in my off time. However, I probably won't be making as regular videos. I'll still be making them, or maybe make them at sort of after a certain period, maybe every sort of 5 years, for say in 2060, then in 2065, 70, 75, and so on. But this is basically the final standing then. So now 71 years old. Obviously, I wouldn't be 71 in 2058. I would in fact be. So if we had 5 to that, I'd probably actually be. So I'd actually be 66 at this point, going into my 67th year, I suppose, 65, 66. I don't know. Anyway, I've managed to kick in 2006 games. I kind of wish I'd played a few more. Would have got up to 2013. I wonder if I'd got to see the quarters, the semis, and the final. That's 3 more. Would have got to 2009. I kind of need to play 7 more games, and then we would have got to 2013 games. That would have been very, very cool. I've managed to win 1,000. Imagine 1,297 games. Obviously, with a world-class reputation, losing just 340 of those games and drawing 369, a win percentage there of 64%, scoring 4,435 goals. Excuse me, with a goal difference there of 2,219 as we conceded 2,216 goals. I don't know why it says I play 4-4-2. Well, I technically do. It's just I have these pushed up. I don't know. So let's take it back. I was at Brighton then for 14 years. Remember that way, way back in like October, November time? It was absolutely ages ago. And I managed to stay there for 14 years, take them basically to, well, where they are now. They are still in the Premier League and have been for many years. In fact, winning the league most recently as 2051. So, they're still doing very, very well. And then opportunity knocked. People getting a bit bored of the Brighton save, so I thought I'd move on. And opportunity knocked at Liverpool, and I thought, you know what, I want to use this Liverpool team because they actually have a great team. Not to mention, of course, the legend that spawned was, of course, Barry Wallace, the absolutely one of the, if not the best player I've ever seen on Football Manager. I'm talking regen-wise there. He was unreal, and I stayed there for 8 years and managed to win after, I think, 8 attempts at the European Cup, eventually managing to win 2 in a row. And then things got a bit weird, and this is when I think the story and the save changed. Of course, when we went to Arsenal. Looking back at it, I probably should have stayed, but it was getting boring. People got a lot bored quickly because it was Liverpool, which I've done. And if you are wondering, no, I will not be doing a Liverpool save in FM14. I will be going to the Championship. Or starting in the Championship. I've mentioned before about a few save ideas. I briefly mentioned them on Twitter, and it spawned a big load of years to say, go with this team, no, you should try this team. So I try not to let you guys influence me too much, because otherwise I get about a million names thrown at me, and then it's just I can't make my mind up. So that's the problem with that. So I've got a few ideas, considering Leeds at the moment, maybe Ipswich. A few people said Derby. I think a few others. What was the other one? I think Forest was another one. Obviously, going back to Forest again. But I think Blackpool was one I'd really like to do. But I know Chris has already sort of taken Blackpool. Then again, shouldn't really matter, should it? But you know what I mean when I say that. But 4 winless, trophyless years at Arsenal. I can imagine what would have happened. Imagine how good my trophy stack would have looked if I'd won something there. Of course, getting to a European final. Then I decided to mix things up a bit for the first time since like FM11, when of course we did that crap 2050 save where I literally lasted 3 games, and it was crap because I didn't know anyone. Went abroad. I went to Borussia Dortmund. The chance was there, and I thought that was a really, really good opportunity. Left Arsenal the year earlier and went to Dortmund and managed to push them back up and make them back to a sort of European power again. Managed to win the league after my second season, my first full season, I guess. And of course that spawned the next great striker, which was Horst Krumpin, of course, who became, as you can see, greatest spell success in the 40s. Started that off. He became a great player again, obviously managing eventually to win the European Cup 6 years after I left. If we look at the records now, Horst Krumpin most league goals. Remember this guy, Zovko? Yeah, he's now the leading most cap player. It's amazing, really. 568, but he's been there since pretty much he stepped through the door, since 2037. 21 years he's been there. That is absolutely unreal. And yeah, so I managed to turn Dortmund back around, of course. Then came the failures, I suppose you could say, the sort of wilderness years, I guess. Um, and for anyone who goes, oh, all your videos are you just winning. Well, here's the proof that it's just not necessarily true at all. Roma, I lasted, oh God, how many last time games did I last? Like 12 games. Lost twice and got sacked. I think I joined in December and got sacked by April or March. Really had a horrible time there. Then I left and went down a different path, totally different path. The USA managed to take them to the World Cup, winning the Gold Cup along the way, of course. But ultimately, I had no chance in the World Cup. Absolutely no chance. Of course, I had some good players there. David Morgan of Manchester United. Trying to think who else. What's he called? Marcelinho, wherever he was. I forgot his name now. The Brazilian sounded Enio sounding lad. And then I went back to the Premier League, a successful return to the successful return to the Premier League 12 years after leaving Arsenal. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, 8 years, I should say, after leaving Arsenal. Matt's completely wrong there. Joining the slightly strange choice of Nottingham Forest, managing to save them. Really, they were struggling back in the Premier League. Really, I think they were 19th after about 10 games and struggling. But I came in, helped them up, and managed to get them to a top half finish. And then I just felt totally uninspired and almost just, I don't know, there was nothing about them. They really had nothing about them. So I just thought, you know what, I'm up sticks and I'm going to leave and I'm going to join Tottenham. They sacked their manager for no apparent reason, as far as I could see. They were doing okay in the league. I mean, they were falling behind a little bit in the title race, but nothing major, nothing to sack your manager over. But they did that eventually, or they did it anyway, and they came calling, and I could not decline Tottenham. They had a great team, great potential, and they were on the up. And they for years and years and years really were sort of relegation candidates, almost mid-table to lower to relegation. And they really were not that great a team. But all of a sudden, in the 40s, they got a reinvigoration. Once that decade started, they became a totally new team and came out and actually looked quite impressive. And I managed to guide them to the European Cup, my third European Cup. And not quite the league. Arsenal were eventually, I managed to, I always like to claim that I think I built a little bit of this Arsenal team that became very successful. But Spurs, it was a good time. I enjoyed their one European Cup there. Made some good names, obviously. And then we have England's where we are now, 2052, which will be to 2058. I will be retiring soon. In fact, I'm going to do it now. Let's do it on camera. Or resign, I should say. There you go. Long-serving manager. Yep, David Ice, really. Ooh, that's interesting. Now, that is very interesting. Cornick has left. Joking out, he's a fucking assistant manager at Colwyn Bay. The only reason I brought him in was because his stats are actually okay. Well, sort of. Well, the best I could get for what my limited amount of know-how when it comes to staff. But yeah, they go 2052 to 2058. Fantastic. Personal then, 12 medals, I guess, or 12 personal victories, I guess, sort of like manager of the year and all that sort of stuff. 4 runners up and 3 bronzes. 52 team awards, 28 runners up and 5 third places. Amazing, really. Can't believe I've done that. This is how the Hall of Fame looks. Still not caught up Mourinho. Now, I don't know if that is just totally inhospitable amount that Mourinho has managed to find there, because I look at most other people, and the Alex Ferguson or something usually is at the top, and he's on like 5,000 or something, and it's like, yeah, I can catch Fergie, and it's like that easy, and then you do. But Mourinho, that is ridiculous. Joe Thornton, the current manager, at least he better be, manager of Real Madrid, still going after these years. 20 years at Real Madrid, he has been phenomenal. Pep Guardiola there, of course, did a very successful job with Barcelona, Brighton, of course, winning the Champions League a year after I left, bastard. And of course, winning 3 Champions League with Man United, 5 Premier Leagues, really sort of continued to Alex Ferguson's success. And there is Ferguson. He managed to continue on for a while. Then there's Pastore, who has been excellent for Juventus. He's been he's gone now, actually, he's retired. But he was sort of what Thornton is to Real Madrid, very good. Luis Mathieu as well. He won, look at that, 10 French Cups, 17 League One wins, 1 Champions League, of course, the first French team, I think, to win. The only French team to win, actually. I don't think PSG have won it yet. Carlo Ancelotti there, managing to win 6 League Ones and 6 Coupe de la Leagues with him, whatever they are. There's Roberto Mancini, who was great for Man City, believe it or not. I know, obviously, he was eventually sacked and all that, but he spent stupid amount of time at Manchester City. We can't actually see how long he actually did spend, but never mind. Paulo Plata, a regen, who is still who's the manager of Getafe now. He's still going. Very good manager, actually. Done quite a lot with Barcelona. He won 6 Spanish Cups, 7 La Ligas, 2 Champions Leagues. There's Rafa, doing very well. Won stuff with Bayern in the end. Davide Astori, current Italian international. Did a very good job with a lot of teams, actually. Look at that. He won 2 Premier Leagues. He won the World Cup with Italy. Won a European Championships. He's won the Premier League with City. Won Champions League with City. Also won a Champions League with Real Madrid. He won the Russian League. He won 2 La Ligas. He was a very good manager. He's won an awful lot. Johnny Heitinger down there. Yeah, he even won a European Cup with Liverpool. A former Everton player. I know, crazy, right? He won 8 Bundesligas, 3 German Cups. Very successful there is Sir Bob Paisley, one of the greatest managers of all time. And I'm not just saying that, he literally is. And if you laugh at that, then you're an idiot. You really are a moron. Otmar Hitzfeld, in my opinion, also the greatest managers of all time. Very, very good manager. Marcus Weisner, regen. Let's see, he's won the Champions League with Arsenal, won 7 Premier Leagues with Arsenal. Won the Capital One Cup, 4 Capital One Cups, and 1 Premier League with Man United, and also the FA Cup. And finally here, Andrea Stamiaccioni won 5 La Ligas, 6 Italian Cups, 1 Europa League, 5 Spanish Cups, and 1 Champions League. So, let's see. And what was that? What was the win then? So let's go through all this. So 4 Premier League wins at Brighton, 2 FA Cups, 1 Capital One Cup, 1 Empower Championship, 1 Europa League with Borussia Dortmund. 1 Europa League, 2 German Cups, and 3 Bundesligas. With England, 1 Confederations Cup and 1 European Championship. With Liverpool, 8 Premier League wins. That was, of course, on the bounce. 4 Capital One Cups, 1 Club World Championship, 3 FA Cup wins, 2 Champions League wins, and 1 Europa League. And with Tottenham, 1 Club World Cup, 2 FA Cups, 1 Champions League. With the USA, a Gold Cup. And there we go. Wow. Right, so as a little special extra thing for you here, what I'm going to go do now is I'm going to go to a website. I've actually forgotten the name, but I will put it in for you. I'll use my browser and stuff, and I will show you my all-time 11 from this save. Hold tight, it's it's going to be weird. I know, and you can debate this in the comments. I know you might not agree with everything I'm about to say, but have a look anyway and see what you think. And yes, here it is. This is using the website lineupbuilder.com. So if you want to end it like this, then here it is. And this is the all-time 11 then. So this infuses, well, basically players from my most successful teams. Obviously, I'm not going to include the likes of USA, England. I don't think it'd be fair to use international ones anyway. And it's going to include Brighton, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Dortmund, basically. So if we look, the goalkeeper was only ever going to be one choice, really. That was, of course, Till Spielmakers. Remember him? He's racked up a ridiculous amount of appearances for Liverpool. I don't think he's a legend, but if we look at the best 11 here, the overall 11, 804 appearances. That just says it all, really. That is kind of ridiculous. Then we have at right back Ruben Juarez, who of course I signed on a free. I can't unfortunately see his profile, but he had 583 appearances, could play at right and centre back. He was absolutely fantastic. I can't believe I managed to sign that. A great quality for him. Then we go all the way back to the Brighton save. One of the first regens I signed was, of course, Ronald Custers, one of the best defenders I've ever had. Quality player. Very good at Brighton. Vadim Glukov is a player I inherited Liverpool, but still a very good player, first inherited player. Not too many of these. Well, in fact, there are quite a few, I'll be honest. But he was still excellent. So good. Yusuf Tej, not to mention also a player I did admittedly inherit, was at the time, of course, when I joined, Liverpool's all-time most expensive player after they paid £36 million for him, beating Carroll's record by £1 million. Yeah, and of course he is still, I believe, the assistant manager of Liverpool. I brought him in many moons ago. Yep, he's still there. Still. I brought him in, as you can see there, £36 million. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I brought him in 2038. He's been there for 20 years. Phenomenal. So he also gets it there. Then in midfield, slightly difficult, but ultimately, I guess, easy choice in the end. When I thought about it, my own son, obviously, he's not clickable anymore. He is, I believe, a Liverpool legend. I think he's an icon, actually. Yep, there he is. Yeah, he's a brilliant player. Very good player. And there's the only one that might, I think, surprise one or two. You, Carsten Mikowski. Remember him at Spurs? He was very good. He basically beat Real Madrid on his own, if you remember. There's Fowler, the captain. I'm trying to think, is he still there? I doubt he is. No, he can't be now, surely. What am I talking about? Let's see, is he an icon or a legend or anything? He should be. No, I can't find him. Is he in the all-time best 11 for Tottenham? No, he's not. Don't like that. Let's try... There he is. Is he clickable? No, he's not. But if we go back to the fixtures here, I don't know whether we'll be able to see them or not, but whatever. Where's the old fixtures? There it is. If we go back to, let's see, that's not it. Trying to find out where it is. I've actually kind of forgotten. That's not. I took a 2-year leave, didn't I? Yeah, this is the one. Real Madrid. This one, hat trick. Honestly, this match alone put him in the team, in this all-time 11 team. He was phenomenal in that game. Really was phenomenal. And he rightfully deserves place in this team, I think. And then the front, sort of four, I suppose. This is the formation that I did play, of course. I've been playing for a while now. El Lopez, who's now, believe it or not, the manager of Barcelona. He managed Liverpool, he's managed Everton, he's managed United. I'm pretty sure he's managed City at one point. He's managed everyone, and of course, he was a great player for me at Liverpool, and of course, Arsenal. He chipped in with a few goals in there as well after I signed him for a mere £45,000. And on the left, Leon Fowler, the latest addition, I suppose, at Tottenham, £48 million, the most expensive player I've ever bought. If I exclude Marouane Schumacher, I think I bought for 60 million. I think about 10 years ago or something on FM 2000. Sorry, Championship Manager, should I say. Yeah, I know I was young, I was stupid. He was good though. He's a good player on that game. And then up front two, really unsurprising, Barry Wallace and Horst Krumpen, both absolutely incredible talents. So there you go. That's an all-time, a little special thing I've done for you there. And I think that's about it then. So that is going to do it for me then. So I might be back with another save. Not with another save, I beg your pardon. Another sort of update. Maybe a few years later, tell you where I've gone. If I'm back in Brighton, maybe I'm back at Liverpool. Might even be back at Dortmund, I don't know. We'll just see where the wind takes us. So, thank you, and good night.